We've seen how to solve simultaneous equations using graphs. Now we're going to learn how to do so using algebra. If I have these two equations here, 3x plus 4y equals 18 and 2x plus 4y equals 16, and I want to solve them simultaneously without using a graph, what I can do is label the equations. So first I'm going to label this equation 1 and the second equation, equation 2. We know how to solve equations where there's one variable, so the idea is to get rid of one of the letters, one of the variables. So what I can do is look at the coefficients of my variables. I have 3x in my first equation, 2x in my second, 4y in my first equation, and 4y in my second. Because the coefficients of the y's are the same, if I subtract my two equations from each other, the y's will disappear because 4y take away 4y is going to be 0. So I'm going to do equation 1 take away equation 2. And this will give me 3x take away 2x, which is 1x, or just x. 4y take away 4y is 0. 18 take away 16 on the right hand side is 2. So I can see one of the answers is x equals 2. To get what the value of y is, I need to substitute this value of x back into one of the equations. Out of habit, I always substitute back into the first equation. So I can say sub into equation 1. Three times 2 plus 4y equals 18. 3 2s are 6, so I can say 6 plus 4y equals 18. I can subtract 6 from both sides, so 4y is equal to 12. And now I can divide both sides by 4 to leave me with y equals 3. So my answers are x equals 2 and y equals 3. You might have a pair of equations where let's now consider this pair of equations. If we notice, the y's do not have the same number in front. We have 1y in the first equation and 2y in the second. We have minus 3x and plus 3x. So they are nearly the same number, they just have a different sign. I need to think of a way that I can cancel out the 3x. So if I have minus 3 and I took away 3, same as in the first equation that we just did, this will actually not give me 0, it will give me minus 6. But if I do minus 3 plus 3, so basically if I add the equations, that does give me 0. That will cancel out my x's. So this time I'm going to label the equations 1 and 2, but I'm going to add the equations. So if I do this, let me just write the equations out first. If I add my equations, I get y plus 2y, that's 3y, minus 3x plus 3x is 0, 3 plus 15 equals 18. So I can say 3y equals 18. To get y on its own, I can divide both sides by 3, which will give me 1y is equal to 18 divided by 3, which is 6. To get x, I can substitute back in. I can substitute y this time back into my first equation. So I can say that y take away 3x is 3. So 6 take away 3x equals 3. I can subtract 6 from both sides. So minus 3x equals 3 take away 6, which is minus 3. And now I can divide both sides by minus 3 to give me that x is equal to minus 3 divided by minus 3, which is 1. So my final answers would be x equals 1 and y equals 6. Usually, the coefficients of our variables are both going to be different. We need to make the coefficients of one variable the same so we can cancel. So in this question here, I can see I've got 4x and 2x, 3y and 1y. It's up to you, it's up to us which variable we cancel. So if we choose to cancel out the y's, we need to make the coefficients of y the same. If I've got 3y and 1y, I could multiply 1y by 3, and then the coefficients will be the same. So I'm going to label my equations, equation 1, equation 2, and I'm going to multiply both sides of equation 2 by 3. This will keep the equation the same because I'm multiplying both sides by 3. 3 times 2x is 6x, 3 times y is 3y, and 2 times 3 is 6. It's very important that you times both sides by 3, otherwise you won't be able to use the equation. Now we can say that we have 4x plus 3y equals 4, and we can say 6x plus 3y equals 6, and I will call this equation 3. So we have equation 1 and equation 3. What I could do is do equation 3, take away equation 1, and then that will give me 6x take away 4x, which is 2x, 3y take away 3y, which is 0, 6 take away 4 is 2, and I could divide both sides by 2 to give me x equals 1. I could now substitute x equals 1 back into really any of the equations, but I will choose the first equation. So I can say sub x equals 1 into equation 1, and that will give me 4 times 1 plus 3y equals 4. So 4 plus 3y equals 4. I could subtract 4 from both sides, so I get 3y equals 0. Divide both sides by 3, so I get y equals 0. So my final answers are that x equals 1 and y equals 0. The hardest kind of equation you might see is one where you need to multiply both equations by something. So in this question, equation 1 is 2x plus 3y equals 7, and equation 2 is 5x minus 2y equals 8. In order to make the numbers in front of the y the same, except for the signs, I need to multiply the first equation by 2, which will give me 4x plus 6y equals 14, and the second equation by 3, so 3 times equation 2, and that will give me 15x minus 6y equals 24. We're basically looking for a number that I have to times the first equation by and a different number that I times the second equation by in order to make the numbers in front of the y's the same. A little hint is if I take 3, so that's the coefficient of the top equation, and times the second equation by that, and the bottom equation, if I times both sides by 2, which is the coefficient of y in the second equation except for the sign, then this will always work. So what I can do now is label the equations. So 2 times equation 1, I will call that equation 3. 3 times equation 2, I will call that equation 4. These are really the same equations as equations 1 and 2, but it's just notation that we use to keep track of our workings. So what I can do is add the equations now, because 6y plus minus 6y is 6y take away 6y, which is 0. So if I add the equations, I get 19x, 6y plus minus 6y is 0, 14 plus 24 is going to be 38. So I get 19x equals 38. To get x in its own, I can divide both sides by 19, which will give me x equals 38 divided by 19. Now, if I do 19 times 2, that's going to be 38. So 38 divided by 19 is 2. So I can say x equals 2. I can substitute x back into my first equation to give me 2 times 2 plus 3y equals 7. So 4 plus 3y equals 7. I could subtract 4 from both sides to give me that 3y equals 3. And then I can divide both sides by 3 to give me that y equals 1. So our final answers are x equals 2 and y equals 1. Here are some questions for you to try. Please pause the video now to have a go, and when you're ready for the answers, press play. Here are the answers.